Hello everyone, welcome to this session 2, the part 2 of the first video we did when we talked about the narrative voices, and you will actually see most of the things that I talk about in this video, and I will go over it like a review slightly very soon. And then we have some usage here which if you actually followed the first video which I did, which is the last video I released, you will be able to follow through with this as well and understand everything that I discussed. So I will advise, if you did not see the video, you should go back to the video and check out the video so that you understand more everything that we say in this video. Of course, you can still understand in isolation this video, but what you will actually be stand a better chance of understanding everything that I will be explaining in this video if you've actually seen that video. So just a brief recap of everything that I talked about in the part 1. As I've said, that video is just 50%, and if you didn't actually follow through with this, you will only just get a half-baked bread. So now let's dive into this for today. So we're still on the narrative voices. So we have first person singular. Don't worry about the jargon. First person singular, what it just means is that first person is you are referring to yourself, like hi. First person, you are the only one in view, like hi, you are talking about yourself, hi. So first person singular, first person plural, that is first person, you are talking about not only yourself but more people are involved. We. Second person singular, that is you are talking about someone who is present with you, who is singular, like you. And then we have second person plural, that you are talking about someone else who is present with you but not one person, maybe more than one. But English, it is still you, but Yoruba, it's more than it. Another word is being used to represent it. And we have third person singular, which is actually we are talking about someone else who is not present with you, who is one person. And we also have third person plural, who is also someone else who is not present with you but more than one person. Maybe you are talking about a group of people, so it is they. So now let me go back a slight run through of what I discussed last week. So hi in English, we have hi in English, which is first person singular, but in Yoruba, hi in isolation is emi. But when we are using it in a word, in a sentence, to create a sentence, we will not use emi. That's just the rule of the Yoruba language. We will not use emi. I in isolation, when you just say hi in Yoruba, it is emi, emi, emi. But when you want to use it in a word, to start is in a word, you use it as mo. But you know what, I didn't say something last week. I said when you want to use it in a word, you use it as mo, mo, mo. But if you look at something very well as well, this hi in English is actually used in the subject position. What I mean by subject position is that you are the one carrying out an action. Like if you say hi, that means it was done by you. If we say we, that means the action was done by you in collaboration with other people. If you say you went, you left, so that means the action was actually carried out by someone who is present with you. Or you can say you by someone, by a group of people who is present with you. You guys did it, you guys went there. So we also have e. So everything that I explained last week are actually, when you are using it everything I explained last week I explained it in respect to being used in the subject position. But today I want to use it in respect being the object position. For example, in Yoruba, this is just what I explained last week. Cutting out this, I just explained he pushed, ot, they beat, one na. So they in Yoruba is one. They in Yoruba in isolation is awon. But when you want to use it in a word, it is one. So they beat. One na. Beat means na. Beat is na in Yoruba language. So but if you want to use a complete sentence, we have subject, verb and object. So when you want to use this hi in the object position, it will turn to me. You use it as me. Last week I explained I in isolation is emi, which is true. But when you want to use it in a sentence, it will turn to mo. But it will only turn to mo if it's in the subject position, that is you are the one carrying out an action. But you want to use it in the object position, it will turn to me. Just like in English as well, this I turns to me. Yeah, it is still, if I say he pushed me, it is still I. But if I'm the one that pushed, it will be I pushed him, or I pushed her, or I pushed them, because I am the one carrying out an action. But here I'm the recipient. It's in the I am in the object position. That is, I'm the one who received the action. So that is why I in English turns to me in the object position. So the rules operate in Yoruba as well. I in isolation is a me. But when you want to use it in word, just like I explained last week, it will turn to mo. But what is really happening in last week where I explained is that mo here, I only explained the subject position in the last video that I did. It's actually in the subject position, the part 1 session that I did. I'm just mentioning last week, it's not last week. So the last video, but if I still mention last week again, you know I'm referring to the last video. Just a slip of tongue. So I said I is used as mo when you want to use it in a sentence, but it's actually being used in the subject position. So let me continue. We have we, which is our, and when you want to use it in sentence, it is turned to a, but you know, subject position. We have you in English, which is in Yoruba is iwo, and when you want to use it in sentence, it will turn to o, subject position. We have you in English, second person plural. When you want to use it, the meaning in Yoruba in isolation is any. When you want to use it in a word, it will turn to e. We have third person singular, he, she, or it, and in isolation it is own. I said Yoruba does not actually recognize gender. English here recognizes gender, he, she, or it, inanimate, female, male. But Yoruba, it is own. So when a Yoruba use it in a sentence, you wouldn't know if they are referring to a male or female. And when you want to use it in a sentence, it is o in the subject position. Today I'm talking about the object position, so that's why I'm not mentioning these other ones that we have here. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and the likes. So we talked about that. And then we have third person plural, which is they in English, and they in isolation is awon, awon. But when we are using it to create a sentence, it turns to one, 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 one. But of course, subject position. So now today we'll be talking about these same words: first person plural, second person singular, second person plural, third person singular, third person plural. We'll be talking about them in the object position, that is, they are the recipient of an action. So now going further into that, first person singular, I in isolation is Amy. If it's used in the subject position, it will be mo. But if it's used in the subject position, it will be more. But if it's used in the object position, it will be me, 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 me. We still use it. You can already see them in the usage. We also have first person plural, we, our, our. If you want to use it in a sentence, in the object position, it is a. But in the object position, it is wa, 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 wa. So if you look at it very well, you should see that Yoruba often observe one thing like a pattern. It's just like dividing the word into two. But of course, it's not applicable to all of them, because this me here, it me in the subject position, in the object position, but it's not this e, which is a, that we use in the subject position. So, but if you look at this actually tallies with that, and this also tallies with that, and this does not tally, this does not tally also. But we have two that tallies with it, that when you break it into two, it works. But more often than not, you will always see either the subjective one or the objective one in the root word. You will always see it in the root word. For example, this one, I want, it is the same thing. So let's just continue. Let me not run ahead of myself. So we have first person plural, we in English, but we in isolation means awa in Yoruba. And when you use it in the subject position, it is a, but in the object position, it is wa, wa. So we have second person singular, which is you, and you in isolation in Yoruba is iwo, iwo, iwo. And when you want to use it in the subject position, you use it as o, o, o. And also when you want to use it in the object position, it is t, o. So this is the same. And we have singular second person plural, which is still you in English, but it is not iwo, iwo in Yoruba. Yoruba is ẹ̀yin. Yoruba marks difference. There's a difference between both of them in the Yoruba language. So we have ẹ̀yin, and in the subject position, it is ẹ. I gave a lot of examples in the first session that I did on the subject, but in the object position, it is yin. For example, you killed. You killed. For example, you pushed. You pushed. So I just used an incomplete sentence in the last video because I wouldn't want to run ahead of this lesson to put the objective case there. So you pushed. So those are the examples that I gave last week. Just 2 words example: the subject and the verb. So we use where am I? I think, yeah, I'm here. So you in isolation is any, but in subject position it is a, but in object position it is ni. I know it may be a little bit hard to pronounce, but by practice you will get it more. And we also have third person singular, he, she, or it, and in isolation it means ohun. And then I explained that in subject position it is o. So it's different from this. I explained last week too that sometimes this o can be used as o. But if you don't want to confuse yourself, you can still keep using or, and later on, as you communicate more, you will understand it, because we have this o. If you want to use o here, it's different from o here. This one will be o, but this one is o, but this one is o. If we remove this diacritic, this one can also be o, which is the most commonly used. But as a new learner, you may not be able to get the difference, and it may confuse you. So that's why I use o, which is actually still correct. Or we have he, she, it, which is ohun in isolation, and then when we want to use it in this subject position, we have o. But in the object position, this is actually a little bit complicated in the Yoruba language. In the object position is an extension of the last vowel in the verb, just like an extension. Like what we have here, you pushed her. We have she, he, she, it, which is actually the subject position. But when in English, if this she comes to the object position in English, it will turn to her, not she again. So, and this is what I'm trying to explain here in Yoruba. It's an extension of the last vowel of the verb, just like we have it here. You pushed her. You pushed her. E-T-E. So we use this E-T-E. So if it is you killed her, Q is pa. If it is you killed her, it will be o pa ha. So the last vowel of this verb is a. So now in the object position, it will be a, o pa ha. So the third person singular in the Yoruba language, in the subject is he, she, it, is in isolation it is ohun, but when you want to use it in a sentence, in the subject position it is o, but in the object position it is an extension. That's why I just use plus here. It is an extension of the last vowel of the verb before it. So we have you pushed her, e. This I, e, this e here comes here, e. If it is you killed, this you, I use this you here, it is e. So this you here, it is e. This you here, it is o. So just like we have it here, o, e. So it is actually different, and this is plural and this is singular. So this is o, but of course I said most time it is actually used as o, so that's why I use o here, but you may not understand it. It may be complicated for you to differentiate between this o and this o. So but just take it like that, use whichever one is more convenient for you. So if it is pa that we have before this third person singular, it will be o pa a. So this a here will come here, o pa ha. So that's just how it works. If it is o ba ha, that is if it's you kicked a or you kicked him. Kick in Yoruba is ba, so it will be o ba ha. If it they kicked a, one ba ha, so it is an extension. So that's just how that works. And then going forward, third person plural in isolation, we are in English it's they. Third person singular in English in they, and in isolation in Yoruba it is awon, 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 awon. But in the subject position, when you want to use it in the subject position, it is one, and in the object position it is still one. But in English it is they, but in the object position it is them, like this, them. But in Yoruba it is still one. So just to run through, first person singular object mean, first person plural object wa, second person singular object or, second person plural object yin, third person singular object an extension of the last vowel of the verb preceding it. So third person plural in the object position still one. So now let me use it in sentences and we see how it's being used more. So in the last exam, in the last part one, I thought it was just two words I'm using. So he pushed t, he pushed ot, they beat one, I praise moyin, we want afe, you pushed eti, you killed opa. So those are what we talked about in the first session, just these two words. But now it's more of a complete sentence because we are the objective case right now. So me, I said this me. So he pushed me, ot me, he pushed me, ot me. So t is pushed in Yoruba. They beat us, beat is na. So they one, as I've said, in the subject and in the object they are the same. So they beat is na. So they beat, so we have they beat us. So one na wa, so we have they beat us, one na wa. So us, you know, we are in the subject position, wa, which is us, in the object position. So we in English, subject, us in the object. So they beat us, one na wa, just as I've explained here. We in isolation is our, using it in the sentence, and the subject is a, but in the object is wa. So they beat us, one na wa, I praise you. So this is you. You in isolation is iwo. In subject position it is o. In the object position it is still o. In the object position it is still o. So I praise you, mo nye ho, mo nye ho. You see, this is mo, I, mo. Because I've said it, I in isolation is emi. Used in the when you want to use it in a sentence, in the subject position it is mo, and then in this object it is me. So that's why we have me here. But mo in the object position, I, we have mo. Praise is nye. In Yoruba, mo nye ho. So we have the next one is this you, which is singular second person plural. That is, the person you are referring to is more than one person. So any, and when you want to use it in the subject position it is e, but in the object position it is nye. So that's what we have here. We are in the object position, like we have we are subject position. We are fe in English is want, afe nye. So this is what we have in the object position. This you is in the object position, so it is me. You, second person plural, in isolation is any, but when you want to use it in a word, in the subject position it is e, but in the object position it is me. So we have me here. But we, in isolation, it is our. In the subject position, it is a. In the object position, it is wa. So that we have a here. Ha. So you pushed a. So you pushed a. You. In this second person plural, in isolation is any. In the subject position, it is e. In the object position, it is ni. It is ni. So, and when we want to use it here, you. Subject position, it is e. Pushed in Yoruba is t. T, you know, t, and then ha. Like we have it here, he, she, it, but right now, when you want to use it in the subject position, o, third person singular, he, she, it. Yoruba does not mark gender, so in isolation it is ohun. But in the subject position, when you want to use it in a word, in a sentence, in the subject position, it is o. But in the object position, I said it's a little bit complicated, but not that complicated. It is just like an extension of the last vowel of the verb preceding the object. So we have you pushed a, he, you. In isolation, any. In the subject position, object, me. So subject is what we have here, pushed, t, e is what we have here, third person singular, e, which is a in English. If it's him, it is still e. If it's it, it is still e. So he. So assuming this verb is not t, maybe this verb is ba. Ba means to slap or to kick in Yoruba. That is ba, to kick or to slap. So if it is ba, the last vowel will be a. So it will be egbaha. Or if this one is not you, if it is a, it will not be agbaha. But we have you here, which is e. You know, you in the subject position, e. So eti. If the verb is ba, which is kick or slap, it will be egbaha. If it is ju, which is ju means throw. When you throw something, ju, that is ju in Yoruba. Ju in English is throw, to throw. Throw, ju. If it's ju, the verb is ju, ju, but ju in Yoruba. So you throw it. It will be ju. So you know that u is what we will have here. So it's just like bringing the last vowel of the verb into the object. That is what we have in respect to third person singular in the object position in the Yoruba language. Very simple, but with much practice you will get it very well. So we also have the last one. We have they. They in isolation is awon. In the subject position, it is mon. Just like we have here, they beat us. Nawa. But in the object position, it is still the same. So that's why we have here, you killed them. But you know, in English, them is the object position of the same they in the subject position. If it's in English, it is they when they are the subject. But when they are the object, it will be them. So you killed them. And it's them we have here, but in Yoruba it is still one. You killed them. Opa one. So it's very simple. That's just the usage. O, they, one, I, mo, we, you, you, o, and then in the object position, me, us, wa, you, or you, yin, I. But you know it's not concrete. This will determine this. The last vowel here will determine this, and then them, one. So it is quite very simple. very simple. So that's just what I want to explain to you in this video, and I hope you've been able to learn a lot. And I will still continue in the part 3. This will actually be in 4 sessions. In session 3, we'll talk about the possessive determiner, like mine, and we also have her, who you have, like your, yours, mine. So things like that. Hers. So things like that are what we discussed in the session 3 and session 4. And I hope you've been able to understand everything I've explained in this video. If you have any question, you can put in the comment section and I will answer your question. I will plead for you to plead with you to actually like this video and also subscribe to this channel. It requires great sacrifice and investment to bring this video to you, editing and the likes as well, and nobody's paying me, not even YouTube. So kindly subscribe to this channel, kindly like this video, and if you will like a private tutor, of course I can tutor you. And if you are probably doing any projects in Yoruba language that relate to the Yoruba language, a research in the Yoruba language, I'm a linguist, I can collaborate with you on it. So that's all I want to discuss with you in this video, and hopefully see you in the 3rd session and in other videos that I'll be posting on this channel. This is Learn Yoruba Online.